Hey, welcome to Access to Analytics. I'm Bart, one of the co-founders at Raito, and today I'm here with Charlotte Ledoux, who is a data governance expert, and we'll be talking about data governance engineering, a hot new topic. But first, Charlotte, who are you? What do you do?
Hi, so happy to be here for this recording. So I'm Charlotte Ledoux. I'm a freelance expert specialized in data governance right now, working for customers in various industries and environments. So yeah, that's it. And I have a background mostly in different consulting firms. So.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, Charlotte, I mean, super happy to have you here. I've been following you for a while on LinkedIn, and I'm seeing that your following is growing. And I remember a couple of years back when I was in data governance at Calibra still, that data governance was boring. And I see people really respond a lot to your posts. And one post in particular I found interesting. I read it a couple of days after I read a thread on the Reddit data engineering group where somebody asked like, "Hey, I'm recently hired as a data governance engineer. What do I do? What's my role?" And then I saw your post on the role data governance engineering, and I thought, oh, this is interesting. I also saw a lot of strong responses to your points. Somebody saying this is not a role, this is not a job. So, what is a data governance engineer? What does it do?
Yeah, I mean, it was a bit like you. So maybe just to come back a little bit, I talked about it because one of my customer asked to me, like, can I can I recruit someone with this title? And I thought it was really interesting, and it made me think, okay, is this really something new? Is it a new role we should start recruiting? Like, what should I think about it? It made me think about this, and I thought, okay, I should do a post on LinkedIn because people on LinkedIn likes to debate. They like to debate. So yeah, I was really happy to have all these great conversations. To me, I think there's a strong reaction because it's a technical role, and like data engineers have in general a strong opinion on what is their role, because I think they are truly important, but we talk more, about AI data scientists. So I think they feel like they are a bit forgotten, and talking about them with the term data governance, it provoked a lot of reaction. But yeah, we could try to give a definition. I guess to me it's almost same as a data engineer, but it's just that you're gonna add this layer, or you're gonna add a few skills that makes it specific to like be able to manage data catalogs or data quality tools, because not all data engineers know how to do this. I mean, that's my opinion, at least. And I think a data governance engineers would have this set of skills on top of the other ones.
Is it a role, or is it a responsibility that a data engineer takes upon them on top of their data engineering role?
Yeah, I think we are going to see both, actually. Some companies will say it's a role, part of like their data governance framework. So like you're saying, you're just taking this on top of what you're doing, and you're maybe gonna get more involved in like enforcing policies through like technical workflows or whatever. And I guess other companies are going to say, no, it's not only a role, it's a full-time like job, because obviously that's happening. Because like you said, you've seen some people being recruited with this title. So I guess we're going to see both.
Yeah, I guess it depends also on the size of the company, where bigger companies will probably have, with a lot of sensitive data, a lot of data, they will probably have a dedicated data governance engineer. Yeah, you said something interesting. You said that the data governance engineer is a data engineer who will, among others, work with the catalog, work with data quality tools. And I mean, uh, as I said, I got a bit of a background in data governance, but this is like from a couple of years back already. And back then, when I started, data governance said squarely was really part of the CDO, which is like often a separate department. But the data engineer, they typically fall under the CIO or the CTO, the people responsible for the data platform. If this is a role, imagine you're in a company where you have a data governance engineer, they're responsible for the catalog. Where would you put them, Charlotte? Would you put them under the CIO and on the data platform team? Or do you think they would sit under the CDO, whose role is really changing a lot now lately with AI and so forth?
Yeah, yeah, it's always a good question, and it will for sure depend, like you said, on like the structure on the different teams. To me, like I said, because it's most of their tasks would be just being a data engineer, I would put them under the CIO or CTO because they need to develop their skills with other, like, you know, with people with more seniority, so they need to be part of this kind of team, I think. And then they can be, like, you know, strongly related to the data governance team through some specific projects, or, you know, just taking part in some committees where we discuss policies and processes, because obviously they're going to be important in that. But then they can still be attached to like a data engineering team, because that's where they need to be to develop their skills and to grow in the company. That's what I would do. But
Mhm. Mhm. So put them in the technology department, whether it's CIO, right? Put them there because they work with the technology. I heard data governance. I heard policies. Um, I'm just wondering about the timing of it all, right? Uh, like things are going very fast now. A topic that came up a couple of years back that was very hot was data mesh. And for me, data mesh is DevOps and data governance combined in a framework, right? And it's basically to respond to huge amounts of data, lots of change, lots of data products, and basically create a trust that you can support self-service analytics. But uh, data mesh is also like computational, federated computational governance and so forth. I see that in my head, it kind of resonates with the fact that now we're talking about data governance engineering. Is this timing coincidental, or do you believe like data governance engineering is somehow related to data mesh?
yeah, that's it's interesting to see it like this. Yeah, I think it's like you said, it's the trend. So I guess, yeah, companies are getting more mature, and when you move towards a data mesh organization, you're going to structure yourself with some domains, and these domains, you want them to be autonomous in how they manage data. So I guess, yeah, that's and yeah, when you think about like a federated governance, you are going to have these domains who can like discuss their own policies, their own process, some, you know, data integration that they would want for their domain or whatever. And I guess, yeah, if you want them to be robust within their domain, that you would need this kind of role to appear. So that's probably linked, I would say. Yeah, but also maybe it's, I think we see more and more tools to support all data governance. I think a few years back, we we were seeing data governance as this like concept or topic, like people discussing in a room, and then nothing came out. And that's why I think we had bad press, because it was like, okay, these
The
people are just
police.
some kind of police discussing things, but then they don't deliver, they do nothing. So that's also, yeah, now we have more tools to support the initiatives. More concrete things to actually enforce our standards, our controls, whatever. And I think we need to take care of that, to like execute. It's one thing to do the strategy, it's another one to do the execution.
Yeah. So we're going from data governance being very centralized in their almost like their ivory tower, coming up with policies, and then policing people. Hey, you're not following my policies.
Yeah.
To going to something that's more integrated using tools. What is integrated? Like, is it integrated in DevOps? Is it integrated in the platform? And what kind of tools? What do they achieve? Is it pure data quality? Other things as well?
Yeah, well, it depends here again. Sorry. So I've seen companies like integrating big data catalog tools that are pretty heavy actually to integrate. And these come like, problem is that they are not often integrated to the data platform. So it lives apart, and then it's really complicated to connect it to all your different data sources. I think now we have more tools that are easier to be directly integrated in what you do in your data platform. I mean, you have some data catalog existing almost natively in some tools, or just you add this feature like in Snowflake, in AWS, whatever, you already have this kind of tool existing. So it gives you part of the answer. And that's why I think data engineer, most of them are already able to do this. I mean, to manage this kind of tool. And then you have another set of tooling, which is more around data quality, where you would have some specific tools or like open source library, whatever, that you would integrate to your data transformation. And that's also something, to me, not all data engineers are fully trained to do that, or are fully aware of the importance of integrating this kind of checks in data transformation. So that's why I like that's why I liked and highlighting this through this role called data governance engineer.
I see. So it's not only integrating your catalog, for instance, with the data platform, so that you have like active metadata, as they call it, but it's also integrating data quality, observability in your development pipelines, or DevOps or data pipelines, so that you have monitoring really early in the process. Is this what they call shift left then, I guess, Charlotte?
Yeah. It's good that you mentioned it. I found a great article about this, the benefits of like shifting left. But yeah, that's the idea, is to shift all the to avoid more chaos and more rework at the end of your pipelines, or during exposition to your users. You really want to shift left all your data quality checks, all these kind of things, so that very early in the pipeline you can detect anomalies and get some alerts that are directly shared with the stakeholders before the final user find out that his dashboard is like completely wrong.
So I guess you're also a fan of data contracts, where you can specify these, integrating in the pipeline, have SLAs, early warnings.
Yeah, definitely. That's something I'm working on right now with one of my customers, is implementing data contracts. And yeah, I'm working, so with architects and data engineers, obviously. So yeah, I think it shows that, there's this big transition happening of, okay, it's when we do a project now, we also need to think in terms of the different flows, what will happen, and we want to make sure that during run mode we've had anticipated before all these issues that might come up, and we want everybody to to think as if they are either a data provider or a data consumer. And that's really also like some kind of a shift of consciousness that people need to have.
Yeah, you have to think of the end consumer when you work with data. Always keep the end consumer in mind, and having a data contract with SLAs is a good way to force you to think about them. And I almost had a gotcha. You said data architect, data engineer, right? I was going to say, hey, no, data governance engineer, but it's because this is deeply technical, right? So I think we talked about this. Data governance engineer will probably be data engineer because, and this is related to the whole shift left, we have data contracts, we have quality checks. This is deeply in the pipelines. You need technical people to do that. You talked a bit about the catalogs, and there you mentioned the catalogs in the data warehouses. Now, if I look at the catalog and I compare it to a business catalog, there's a huge difference, right? Is there a danger with the shift left that you're going to go so technical you're going to lose the business? Or is that also something the data governance engineer has to do, that when you shift left and you integrate with the warehouse and the pipelines, you take the business user or the end user on the journey, or you keep the liaison? Like, is that also a role for them?
Yeah, that's it's a good point. Yeah, you definitely need to, shifting left, it means that you're gonna put some checks, alerts early in the pipeline, but it also means, like you said, that you need to take into account the business user very early, meaning like ask them what's the quality level that you would need on the data, what's the business rules that you would need also to add before it arrives in your hand. So yeah, that's just also taking them super early in this kind of process. But it's a lot of like, being a facilitator or coordinator on this topic, and being able to make it simple for the final, for the business users. You need to talk in easy terms. So for me, for example, I don't talk about data contract. I don't use this term when I talk to someone to a data consumer. I would need his or her business rules, but I'm not going to say this kind of word. I don't want to scare them. I just want to to know what they need precisely, granularity, temporality, whatever. But I don't need to scare them with some theoretical terms.
Yeah, indeed. They don't care, right? Yeah. They don't care about the terminology, the lingo, the technical language. They care about the business. They don't care about, just data, right? And insights.
Yeah, exactly.
Some of the data quality rules you mentioned have been around for a while. It's not that they're brand new. Like you mentioned, there are new tools.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's wrong with just data governance? Like, why do we need data governance engineering now? What's the main difference with data governance that we did 10 years ago? Why do we need data governance engineers? Why can't it just be data governance people? Why do we need new tools? Why can't we use the old tools? That's something I think our audience is really interested in.
Yeah, I think previously, these we had also a moment where some data catalogs were branding some data quality features, and it was quite disappointing. because these tools, like I said, these big tools were really hard to integrate, lots of data sources, connectors to develop really long-term projects. And in the end, data catalogs were empty and unused. So this was sad. Yeah, I think the new tools that I've seen is, so to me, there's two sets. There's like the vendor tools that you have that are, now all, they have like native connectors. They're really easy to integrate it in a few clicks. You have this kind of drag and drop workflows on data quality that you could create even if you're not a technical user. And the second set is open source library, like Great Expectations is one of them. It's a pretty famous one. Yeah, integrates natively with DBT, so super useful. And I that's why I think we have also the right tools to have good data governance engineers.
Yeah. When you were describing this, I had this image of a pendulum where the very first data governance tools were this is 20 years ago. You would just see the overview of your tables, highly technical. The business user couldn't use it, so the pendulum swung to data governance tools that were very business user-centric, but that don't integrate with the technology. So swung all the way to the business user because of the lack of integration with the platform and DevOps and so forth. Those catalogs remained fairly empty, and then the business was pissed, like, this is useless. We've all heard it, right? And it's not really the tool that's to blame. It's the data governance framework, the effort that has been invested. But now by going back, we have like the new set of data governance tools, which does the best of two worlds. Like on the one hand, the shift left, so they integrate deeply with the platform and DevOps. You have active metadata or technical metadata that is populated. But then, thanks to new roles like data governance engineers and good UX UI, you can marry that technical metadata with, so that technical metadata with business metadata you get from the business user. And I guess that's the hardest part, is combining technical metadata with business metadata.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I always like to spend some time is about the business definitions for like the key metrics or the key business objects that everyone need to agree on one single business definition and business rules, and also the business attributes that you would like. So that's something that I don't think we can automate because it's basically it's knowledge, that you need to add to the tooling part. But then, of course, once this is done, and also something I said is that, documentation is key. I think companies who have a lot of documentation available on Confluence, Notion, this kind of like text documentation, they will have a big advance soon, because these documentation can be super useful. You can train some algorithm on it, and then directly in your data catalog you could ask to a nice AI assistant, like, okay, what's the definition of revenue, for example, and it would just give you the answer. So you have also these new tools of today who are integrating like AI assistant, and like this, for sure, you have business users on board, because it's just so easy now. Just they need to just ask question to a chatbot, basically.
Yeah. So the business knowledge that is scattered around your SharePoint or your Google Drive in different documents, there you're saying like use an LLM with a RAG, and then have the business kind of ask it for definitions.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that's a tool I will definitely leverage. The data governance project, and I think also data governance or for data governance engineer in general, and this is something you talked about, like you have to start and show value early, kind of convince, because in a way, getting that business knowledge, the business metadata, the business context, the legal context, getting that is probably the hardest part, because you cannot just scan tools for lineage or for metadata. You have to get that. But everybody has a lot of work. Everybody's very, very busy. And I guess for data governance engineer, they have to evangelize data governance in a way. Like, how do they start? How does a data governance engineer start and not fail where all their data governance predecessors failed? Like, how do you start, become successful, and then gradually implement the data governance program as data governance engineer?
Start small, obviously. Just take a scope, or like one of the biggest project that is currently going on in the company. And I think as a data governance engineer, you already know the pain points, because obviously you're the one that people came to when there's been some anomalies or whatever. So you could easily write a first list of pain points that people came to you with, and you could say, okay, on all these pain points, I can do some categories. I have all of these ones that are on, I don't know, data duplication. All of these are more about missing data, so we need to find more data, or all of these are because we have a problem of format or whatever. And just like this, you would have some categories on the main pain points, and start with the ones that are the most painful. So just pick the most painful, and that people came to you a lot, so you're going to have a high impact. And just start setting up a first clean flow with some good checks, good alerting system, and start from there. That's what I would say.
This is a really interesting approach. So you're not following a standard off-the-shelf playbook, but you start from actually the pain points, and from there on address those pain points, and then work towards your goals of having a good catalog, good data quality rules, but have everybody on board on that journey as well.
Yeah, and also when you start with an existing project, either in building mode or even in run mode, but something that is already going on, it's easier because you already have some budget in the project. You're already working on it, so you already know the issues. You're gonna win so much time doing this. If you want to start from scratch with a new project or whatever, you're going to spend some time to convince people here and there, and it takes a lot of time. And I don't think that's what data governance engineer want to do of their time. That's more for consultants to above or apart from that to go here and there, convince the different stakeholders. But that's not what a data governance engineer should do.
There's always some convincing involved, some selling, right? If you are a data engineer and you want to become a data governance engineer, because I think that is a trajectory, most likely trajectory. Yeah. What skills should you develop, or how does, when you're a data engineer, what makes a good data governance engineer? If one of the engineers is listening and they think, oh, this sounds interesting, I want to be that, which skills do they have to develop?
I think start with just, basic stuff like read a few articles on what is data governance, just to have a big sense of it, of the various dimensions and topics that it's going to touch, because there's a lot actually. And then probably among that, pick one or two topics that you are highly interested in. because you're not going to be able to, like, it's like, to me, it's we ask a lot from these kind of job. Like, they need to know so many programming language, warehouse, whatever, with databases. They need to know a lot. So just focus one or two topic. For me, the hottest topics right now are more like data quality, for sure. I think it's a good one to start, data quality and data catalogs. Or like, metadata management. You can put it like that. Just pick one or two. But you could pick, I don't know, privacy, you could pick security, you could pick others.
Please pick security.
Yeah, but take one or two and just, start from there, online with some content, and then learn, I would say, the tools that are the most used in these topics. But for a data engineer, for a data governance engineer, to make it to be more robust and strong, I would learn also the open source libraries on this topic and how to integrate them. At least the most used one, the one with the biggest community. I would try on my own, probably like a side project. Okay, how can I integrate this to a side project and see how it works?
That's great news for the data engineers, that they can learn tools, right? Should they also learn about the policies and the regulations, or is that something they can just work with the data governance people on?
Yeah, I think they can learn with the data governance people, because it's going to be specific to the company and to the sector. It's completely different in like health tech, for example. For me, I've never worked with health in the health sector, so basically I know absolutely no regulation in this area, and I'm fine, as you can see. So yeah, I would just I would not put too much effort into this direction. Just learn along the way, and it will depend for sure on the company you work for and the sector. So
so you have to talk with data governance. So people skills will be important, right? So good tools, and then knowing how to sell, how to start small, have some like project management skills, but then most of all, talk to people and get them on your journey. Sell the idea of data governance and what it can bring to the business.
Yeah, you're right. That's probably something a skill to develop, is a bit of empathy and like ability to talk to business users. It can be hard because some people are just like coding people, just like to be with their computers and not talk too much or not be too much into meetings. I get that. But, start doing one or two with some users or some people that you get along with, and they can share with you how they use a dashboard, or, the kind of pain they feel when they can't find this or that data during the day. And like this, you'll get a sense of what they would like actually to have, and how you could act as a data governance engineer to make them happy.
Yeah, super interesting, Charlotte. And we're near the end of our chat. But what I learned today is a data governance engineer is typically somebody who has a data engineering background. And if you're a data engineer and you want to become a data governance engineer, basically what I learned, Charlotte, is start with first finding the biggest problems, right? What questions do people have? What is a recurring challenge? Find the challenge, talk to the end users to understand the challenge, then find a good way to start small and solve the challenge, maybe an open source tool, something that allows you to start small and show value, and then gradually expand your sphere of influence. As you're proving value, you get more challenges, and you can start working towards a bigger data governance program that really drives value for the business. And I would think that with AI and with so much data, which only will become more, there's a very bright future for the
data governance engineers. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we didn't even mention that. Well, we mentioned it a bit with LLM, but yeah, you would have also a great scope on like potential automation of all these flows, all these quality checks. Could be fun also to think about how to automate, how to get recommendation of new checks that could be done based on the ones that you have done previously, these kind of things. So
all right, cool. And of course, yeah, security, right? Charlotte, if people have more questions, can they come to you? Where can they find you?
Yeah, sure. So available on LinkedIn for sure. Yeah, and if you want to read more, I've started my Substack. It's called the Data Governance Playbook. Yeah, I do some posting there on this kind of topic. So.
Must read. I'm a follower. Charlotte, thank you so much. It was super interesting.
Thank you.
And thank you for the listener. Bye. See you next
Bye.
time.